I'm going to be giving you guys some spots, places, events, even some ideas, because I know some of you are all, hey, look, I live remote. I'm very rural. I don't live near a big city. I'm not in North America, so I can't make your stuff. Money might be tight. Fine. So I'll give you some basic know-how. Let me tell you my own story first, actually. So around 2013, 14-ish. Okay, so this is before I was really spending a lot of time on YouTube, uploading videos, sort of working through my shit, help you guys work through your stuff when it comes to unplugging. I'm going to use that word. And I was sitting around in a couple of men's groups. There was one in EO, which was all men, and I was in another, sorry, not EO. I'm not even going to give the name of it because it's so plugged in and frustrating. I'll tell you the story why in a moment. But there's an all men's group, and there was another one with EO, which I really liked. The forum element was great, but I remember sitting in a meeting around 2013 or 14, and what you do in entrepreneurs orgs with these forum type of environments is you have private discussions. There's a confidentiality agreement. There's a constitution, all these sort of things that govern the way that you work with these other business owners. And you're kind of there as a board of directors, like a sounding board. And I think this one had 2 women in it and about 6 guys, if I'm not mistaken. And you take some time to do some updates, what was happening last month, what was working well, what wasn't working well, what are you stuck on, like what do you need help with? And the guy that was, doing his updates at the time, nice dude, fairly successful in his line of work, was probably making, mid 7 figures a year, $5-6 million a year in his business. Had been running it for 10, 15 years, drove a nice car, had a great house, teenage kids, but he was updating us on the relationship with the wife. And, you heard some soundbite of happy wife, happy life. She wasn't sleeping with him. He didn't know what to do. He was getting frustrated with it, blah, 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 sort of stuff. Now, I hadn't unplugged fully, at that point, but I was getting frustrated with listening to updates around happy wife, happy life, putting somebody else ahead of yourself. My proponent about self and masculinity is always put yourself first. You can't be useful to other people if you're not putting yourself first and solving your own problems and doing something of some significance. If other people don't toe the line, if other people aren't a complement to that mission and want to help you accelerate and do well in that mission, then you have to make a decision about, keeping around or letting them go. And after being in that forum for a number of years with some good people, I'm still friends with some of them. Some of them don't. There's one of them in particular that doesn't like what I do today, and I got an earful about it many years ago by text message, which was kind of funny. But I just decided to say, okay, that's enough. I don't want to do these business forums with people that are plugged in. And the conversation I also found very watered down in a room with a bunch of chicks too. You're not going to say and do what you want to say and do if you got women in the room, especially if it has to do with your own relationship, your wife, your girlfriend, whatever it happens to be. So I decided to walk away from that. And shortly after that, in the other group that I was in, which was all men's, which I thought would have been better, was actually worse in some regards. And the moment for me in that conversation was a guy that made a announcement in the chat group, probably on WhatsApp or Signal or something like that. And he's like, hey guys, I'm getting married. So everybody piles in, congratulations. I want an invite to the wedding, blah, 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 all that sort of stuff. And, I waited for the congratulations to sort of end. I obviously offered him my congratulations, but I said after that, I said, look, hey, have you put some thought into mitigating risk factors and getting a prenup signed so that you don't have to worry as much about the untying of the knot? And I had just about everybody in that room pile on me like a fat kid on cake. It was like all these fat kids rushing to go and eat that one piece of cake and just like pile on it. And that's what that experience was. All because I said, hey, have you thought about maybe mitigating your risk and getting a prenup signed so that you don't run into problems later on down the road? It's like, I heard crap like, who hurt you? You're just setting up the marriage for failure if you do that, blah, 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 sort of stuff. And I was like, all right, well, that's a pretty clear indication that I'm in the wrong room. And I've always said to you guys, If you find yourself in a situation where you're the smartest guy in the room, you're probably in the wrong room. Get out of that room. So hire slow, fire fast. That goes for everything in life. Join a group slow, leave it fast. Take on a girl into your life, invite her into your life as a girlfriend, for example, fire her fast if she behaves badly or she's not the right fit. Same thing with employees, obviously. So hire slow, fire fast is something that I talked about in my first book in the Unplugged Alpha. If you guys haven't got it, get it on Amazon. Like, this is what this whole podcast series is. If you're new to this channel, it's sort of like building on the book. And there's another book coming out later on this year, which I'm just finishing up. And this chapter that I'm talking to you about is about the tribe component, building the brotherhood, because guys are always seeking that once they have unplugged. Once you've collected some new information about things in life and you update your belief system, you let go of the old beliefs that don't serve you, you update them, you unplug from the lies, and you move forward. There's anchors and sails in life. A sail will fill with wind and take you to your next port of call, to your, through your passage to your next port of call. An anchor is designed to hold you back. In life, people are either anchors or sails. So you as a guy, if you want to find your tribe, need to be prepared to cut anchors and look for sails. All right, guys, I really hope that you enjoyed that clip. If you want to check out the full-length podcast episode, you can find that right over here. Also, make sure you visit my website over here where you'll find my supplements, the opportunity to book me privately one-on-one for coaching, and most importantly, my new School of Unplugging, which you'll find on the courses tab. Newer to the channel, hit subscribe.